Okay, hey there. So tonight we get to see the demonstration for Raindrop. If you are wondering more like what Raindrop is, what are the oils, why do we use these oils, what are their properties, then you need to check out the recording that we did last week. So that would have been May 17th, maybe. And it's in our YouTube library, and you can watch as Lisa describes the whole process and the history and what it is and what the benefits are for it. So tonight, Lisa has taken us down to her basement area where she is set up with an incredible raindrop massage area, and she's going to demo it for us. So I'll be taking notes. I know you guys will as well, and we'll have a time for questions at the end. Thank you again, Lisa. You are phenomenal with this. I can tell it's a passion and a calling of yours, and I appreciate you being so generous to share with us.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm doing this without an actual body, so it's a little weird, but I'm just going to try to demonstrate the techniques and the whole process as I go through a raindrop when I have someone come in to get a raindrop. So first, I just want to let you know about the Raindrop Kit. So if you want to give somebody a raindrop, this kit has everything in it that you need to give a complete raindrop. And then you can, of course, use other oils, and there's certain places where you can use other oils for other things that you can insert them into the raindrop. So when I start with someone, the first thing that you want to do is you make sure that you've got your room set up, your table adjusted for your height. You want to make sure that the person you're giving the raindrop to takes off any jewelry or metal. They go to the bathroom. I can't have any metal or anything on. Of course, if you have metal in your glasses, if you're giving a raindrop and you need to see, you'll have to leave your glasses on. But other than that, any jewelry or metal, you want to get that off so there's no interaction with that. Um, have your table set up where you've got your sheet, you've got a sheet to put over them, and you can kind of use that to cover them if you're in there with them, or you can let them get undressed and get under the sheet or however they want to do it. And then make sure that your room's a good temperature, and if they need a blanket, have blankets available ready for them just so that they're comfortable. So the first thing that I do and make sure you've got water ready for them when they get done. Because when they get done with the raindrop, they're going to need to drink some water and just relax a little bit. So the first thing that I do when I get started is I measure them. To do that, I just take a little piece of paper and I tape it to the wall, and I leave it taped there. I've got painter's tape so I don't peel my paint off my wall. But I just tape this to the wall. You take something with a real straight edge and you put it on top of their head up against the wall, and then let them move out from under it, and you draw your line on there. Because when they get done, if you remember last week, me telling you, it aligns your spine, so it is going to show anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch when they get done, the difference. So once you get them measured and you get them on the table, they are going to be laying on their back. We're going to do a Vitaflex well, first of all, we're going to balance the energy. So we're going to lay them on their back. We're going to get the oil of Valor. And if you remember, I told you this is the oil that we use to balance the energy. So I will come to the head of the table, and with my right hand on their right shoulder, left hand on their left shoulder, I'll put 3 drops of oil. You want to hold it about 6 inches above your hand. Drop 3 drops of Valor. Rub it on their left shoulder and on their right shoulder, using right hand to right shoulder, left hand to left shoulder. Then you're going to place your hands on their shoulder, and you can stay there anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes or a little longer if you need to, until you just feel like you've got a good, calm, balanced relaxation. And I always say a prayer with them, or I ask them. No one's ever told me no. So I usually always say a prayer with them. Once you feel like you've got that balance, then you're going to go down to the feet. And on the feet, you're going to have to, I don't know if you can see, you're going to have to cross over. Because when you put your right hand to your right foot and your left hand to your left foot, your hands are going to be crossed. And you got to get the palm of your hands on the bottom of their feet once you get the oil on there. So you're going to put 6 drops of Valor on each foot and rub that in, and then you're gonna, again, be there. You could be there 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even longer. So until you just feel that natural energy balance. So once you get the Valor on and you've established the balance, then you are going to do the Vitaflex on the feet. So I have 2 sets of oils set up, so I'm not having to move the oils in between. So to do Vitaflex on the feet, I'm just going to show you this because it's kind of hard to show you how to do Vitaflex on the feet without any feet. So can you all see that okay? Okay, so this right here is the Vitaflex points for the spine, starting down at the coccyx, going all the way up the spine to the brain. So the big toe is the brain. So when you Vitaflex their feet, I'm going to show you how you actually do Vitaflex. So with Vitaflex, you put your fingertips pad down on the skin. You roll your fingers up to a 90-degree angle, and then you flip your finger over, and that sends a charge of electricity through the body. So it's kind of pad tip nail is how I learned it. So you just kind of, and you make sure you go all the way over. And when you're on the foot, you go all the way from the heel of the foot up to the top of the big toe. And so you Vitaflex all of the oils from the heel of the foot to the top of the big toe in order, and you do it 3 times with each oil on each foot. So once you get all of that done, you're going to have them turn over on their stomach, lay their hands down by their side where they're comfortable, and then you're going to start the actual raindrop. So if you remember me telling you about the scrubbers, the first 2 oils that we're going to use in the raindrop, we've already put the Valor on, so we're going to start with oregano and thyme. So pretending this is my body and my spine here, we're going to start with oregano. You're going to hold the bottle about 6 inches above their spine, and you're going to drop 4 to 6 drops on their spine, depending on how tall they are. If they're taller, you might need more. Shorter, you might need less. But basically, you're just going to drop 4 to 6 drops of oil on their spine. And then you're going to do what's called a feather stroking technique. So you will put one hand in front of the other. You're going to use your fingernails, which I didn't show you my fingernails, but you need to have your fingernails clipped and filed really short. Make sure there's no sharp hangnails, edges, anything like that, because you don't want that going into there when you're doing Vitaflex on them. So you want to make sure your fingernails are shaped up good. So you're going to do 3. You're going to do feather stroking. You're going to put one hand in front of the other, just using your fingernails at a very gentle, light stroke, just like the feathers going up their back and tickling their back. And so you're going to do 3-inch strokes straight up their spine from their sacrum all the way up to the back of their neck. So you're going to go 3 times up their spine with these little 3-inch strokes. So you'll do that 3 times, and then you're going to make your strokes a little bit bigger, and you're kind of going to go like 6-inch strokes, and you're going to do 3 of those. And then after you do 3 of those, you're going to do 12-inch strokes. So you might only have 2 strokes, and you'll do 3 of those. So that's the feather stroking, and you're going to do that after every oil. And then there'll be other things that you do too, but that's the one thing you're going to do after every oil is that feather stroking 3 times, 3 small ones, 3 medium ones, and 3 larger ones. So after the oregano, then you're going to do the thyme, same thing, drop the oil, feather stroke 3 times up the spine, all 3 sizes. Once you do the oregano and the thyme, and you feather stroke up the spine, then you're going to go from side to side. You're going to start at the spine with your fingers in the middle, and you're going to go out to the side. And you're going to go up their spine from the sacrum up to the back of the neck, and you're going to do that 3 times. And then, once you get that done, you are going to start at the sacrum, put your hand on either side of their spine. You're going to go straight up the spine and off the shoulders, and you're going to do that 3 times. And in case you haven't noticed, 3 is the magic number. Everything is 3 times, pretty much. All right, so that's the oregano and thyme. So that's scrubbed out all your cells and got all the junk out of there. So now we're going to work on the muscles, joints, and bones. So we have basil, wintergreen, and marjoram. So again, you're going to drop 6 inches above, 4 to 6 drops, feather stroke 3 inches, feathers 3 times, feather stroke 6 inches, 3 times, and feather stroke 12 inches, 3 times. So you're going to do that with the basil, wintergreen, and marjoram, all 3. Now, once you get done with those 3, then this is where you have the opportunity to add that extra oil I was telling you about. So depending on what the situation may be, if they've got digestive issues, you might want to add digize. If they have some kind of mass or something, you might want to add frankincense. If they have respiratory, you might want to add raven or RC or something like that. So whatever issue they may be having, you can add a specific oil after those 3 oils. And once you add those 3 oils, you're going to do finger circles. I'm going to make sure I'm checking my notes because I want to make sure I'm going in the right direction, and I am. So the finger circles are kind of like a deep tissue, something to get deep into the tissues. So you're going to take your fingers and you're going to kind of curl them, and you're going to put them just on the edge of the spine, on this side of the spine. And you're going to make sure that the palms of your hands is touching their back. And you're going to kind of finger circles to clockwise and do 3 finger circles. But as you're doing that, you're going to kind of push kind of hard, and you're going to pull that skin away from the spine. And that kind of gives the space for the spine to adjust. So you're going to do that. You're going to do 3. You're going to move up a little bit. You're going to do 3 more, and you're going to go all the way up their spine, doing those finger circles, pulling that skin away from the spine, kind of getting into that deep tissue. And then when you get one side done, you're going to come over here, and you're going to do the other side, and you're going to go up their spine. And you're going to come back over here. You're going to go up their spine again, back over here, up their spine, back on this side, up their spine, then back on this side and up their spine. So 3 times, but you switch sides every time, okay? So once you get that done, then you are going to go on to cypress. And cypress, wait, did I miss the aromases? I did. So after, and I keep my oils in order so I don't forget. So after you do the finger circles, if they have like really tight muscles, or you just notice like knots in their back or anything, and you can ask them if they want it or not, but I usually will put aromases where the muscles are really tight and just kind of massage it in. It's kind of a freehand thing, so it's not anything specific. It's just you're targeting wherever that soreness and those muscles are tight. So you just drop the aromases directly on the spot, and then you just massage it in and work it in and work around with it. So once you get the aromases on there, then we're going to cypress. Now this is where things start getting a little bit more into some different techniques. So the cypress, you're going to do a little bit differently. Instead of just dropping it on their spine, you're going to shake it like a salt shaker. So just shake it up their back. It doesn't have to be any certain number, but just shake it all the way up their back. Once you get it on their spine, then you're going to go ahead and do your 3 little ones, and then you'll do 3 of your medium-sized ones, and then 3 of your bigger ones. So there's your 3 of those. Now, this is where we start on the Vitaflex part. So you're going to do what's called a thumb Vitaflex. So how I showed you with the fingers, pad, tip, nail, now we're going to use our thumbs and do thumb Vitaflex. So I'm going to show you this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But you'll put the pad of your thumb on either side of their spine, one thumb a little bit higher than the other so that you don't like bump into each thumb. So you got them just a little bit off, and you do the same thing, but you're doing it with your thumbs. You just pad, tip, nail, and you just work your way from the sacrum up to the back of their neck, to the bottom of their neck. So some people are taller, and it's hard for me to stand back here and do it. So sometimes I have to stand on the side, but you stand wherever you're comfortable standing, but you have to start down here, and then you just have to work your way up. So you just have to figure out where you got to stand to be able to do that. So once you do the thumb Vitaflex, the next one is called a finger straddle. So I usually have to go to the other side to do the finger straddle because I'm missing my middle finger. But I'm just going to show you this way so you can see what I'm doing. But you have your middle finger and your index finger, and you're going to put that on both sides of the spine. And then you're going to take your other hand, and it's going to be like a saw. And you're going to put that, hey, Frank, get down. And Frank likes raindrops too. And so does Jazz. Or they like to be in here when I'm doing them. Okay, so you're going to make like a sawing motion. So you'll be pushing with those 2 fingers, and you'll take this hand, and it'll be like a sawing motion, and you're just going to push and saw and work your way up the back of the spine. But you're pushing with those fingers, putting pressure on the sides of the spine, and then you're sawing, so you're kind of like that, okay? And then the last one on that is called stretch and rock. And so you're going to cross your hands, and then you're going to make sure your 2 little fingers are kind of at the same level. You put your hands together. Frank! Oh, get out of here. Go. Sorry, you knocked my light over. Okay. Go, dude. Get out. Scram. Is that light enough still?
Yeah, the lighting is perfect.
Okay. It's a cheap light, so. I forgot where I was. Okay. Yeah, stretch and rock. So once you get your hands together, and make sure you get your palms on their back, then what you're going to do is you're going to like take your hands and push your hands apart, stretching the skin. And then once you get it stretched as much as you can stretch it, then you're just kind of going to rock them. Okay. And then you're going to move up a little bit. Once you do that, get your hands back together, and then you're going to stretch the skin apart, and then you're going to rock again. And then you just keep moving up all the way up to right under the neck, and you get right just all the way up as close to the neck as you can get. So that's the stretch and rock. So once you get those 3 techniques done, then we're going to add some ortho ease. And so to start with, I just squirt a bunch in my hand. I like it pretty juicy. Frank, get away from the light. I like it pretty juicy, so I get quite a bit in my hands, and I rub it together to get it warmed up, so I'm not putting cold oil on them. You don't ever want to just squirt it on them. So then you just get it all rubbed in on their back really good where it's nice and moist. And then you're going to do big palm circles. So you're going to start down here on this side, and you're just going to go clockwise motion, and you're just going to do big palm circles. You're supposed to do 3, but I usually do 5 or 6 or 7 because nobody wants you to stop when you're doing it. So I try to give them a good one. But you just keep going around. Like I said, 3 times is what the process is, but I usually give them more than that. So it's just big palm circles all the way around, okay? Once you get done with the palm circles, then you're gonna do the palm slide. So you can get some more oil if it's kind of dried out by the time that you do 6 or 7 rounds of that. It kind of dries out. So then you can do the palm slide. So you're going to put your hands flat on their back, and your arm all the way up to here should be flat on their back. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to slide your arms. And you're going all the way up and then all the way back down 3 times. Again, I usually do 5, 6, 7, depending on if they're really, I mean, nobody ever wants me to stop them. Get down, cat. Okay, so that's the palm slide. And then, now we're going to go back to the Valor, and I got to get a drink. So when we get back to the Valor, this is going to lock everything in that we've done. So with the Valor, you're going to sprinkle it like you did the cypress. So you're going to shake it like a salt shaker, about 6 inches from the back, shake it up. Then you're going to go ahead and do your feather stroking, 3 times small, 3 times medium, 3 times large, okay? That locks everything in, and then you're gonna do what's called an arched feather stroke. So with the arched feather stroke, you're just making kind of like angel wings. You're just you're taking the fingernails again, and you're just going up their back in an arch. 3 times with 3-inch feather strokes. And then you're going to get a little bit bigger. You're going to do kind of 6-inch feather strokes. You're going to go up their back 3 times with 6-inch feather strokes. And then you're going to do 12-inch feather strokes, which pretty much takes you all the way across their back from their spine all the way to their side. And you do that 3 times. Once you get all your arched feather strokes done, then you're going to do a full length feather stroke. So you're going to start on both sides of the spine at the sacrum, and you're going to come straight up the spine and off the shoulders. And you're going to do that 3 times. So once you get the Valor done, then we're going back to the peppermint, and the peppermint enhances every oil that you've already put on. It just enhances all of that. So you're back to dropping. You don't sprinkle this when you drop. So you go back to 4 to 6 drops up the spine. You do the 3, 6, 12 on the feather stroking 3 times each one. When you get that done, you do the same as you did with the Valor. You do the arched feather strokes, 3-inch ones 3 times, 6-inch ones 3 times, and then 12-inch ones 3 times. And then you do the full length stroke from the sacrum up the spine and off the shoulders 3 times. Once you get that done, you are ready for a hot compress. And there are variations. If you have somebody that is has MS, like the girl that I've done quite a few raindrops for, she has MS, and you have to use a cold compress because they can't take the heat. If you have a paraplegic, you have to actually do the raindrop backwards. So there are certain things that you have to do differently with different situations sometimes. So when you get your compress ready, you're gonna tri-fold your towel. You kind of like a little dish towel is what you have. And then you're gonna roll it up. And once you get the peppermint on them, before you do this, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Before you do that, you are going to have a towel ready, and you are going to spread this over their back. And so then you get your towel ready, and wherever you have to go to get it, you run hot water, as hot water as you can get, over the towel. And you tell the person that you're leaving because they're out of it pretty much. So you want to make sure they know that you're not here with them so they don't roll off the table or something. So let them know that you're leaving to go get the hot compress. And you got this towel laying over them so they're covered up because that peppermint's going to start cooling down in a little bit. So you go get your towel, as hot water as you can, and wring it out as good as you can. You bring it back. You're going to lay it at the very top or the very bottom of their neck. Start at the top, but at the bottom of their neck. And you're going to unroll it down their spine. And I usually kind of just pat it down to kind of lock it all in. And then you'll take your towel and bring it up and kind of cover it up. Try to keep their sides covered, but bring that towel up. You always want to make sure you get a long enough towel kind of, or you can use 2 towels, but one's easier if you and then just make sure you cover that up. And then you're going to let them lay there and rest for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Sometimes they don't want to get up. They want to stay there and sleep. So eventually you have to get them up. So when you get ready for them to get up, you can talk to them and just see how they're doing, how they're feeling. And when they get up, you want to help them sit up and make sure that their eyes aren't dilated or anything. Talk to them, ask them a question so they know what's going on. And then when they're ready to get off the table, you can help them get off the table. And then you're going to measure them again. And when you measure them, you want to put their heels together, put their feet against the wall, and then measure them on that same paper, draw your line, and then you're going to see a difference in how tall they were when you started and how tall they are now, because it has aligned their spine. So make sure that they have water when they get done. They need plenty of water. And the effects of the raindrop, it can take the course of a week for them. They may keep feeling effects during the course of the week. So, but they need to drink a lot of water and stay rested. And that is the raindrop.
Wow. I love that, Lisa. Thank you. That was like sitting at a fire hose with so much helpful information. In fact, I had the thought of, next time I want to try this on someone in my family, I think I'm going to pull up your video and watch it, learn the next step that I need to do, pause it, practice on my family, then go back and press play again. And
right.
You and Frank are going to be with me next time. Try one of these on my family. I love it. So I have a question, and then we'll open it up for other people who might have questions.
Okay.
If you don't have a massage table at home, what's the best way to position someone for the back massage part?
That is a tough one. I've had people that have tried to do it for someone like on the bed, but it's just really hard. If it's something you're going to do on a regular basis, I would just recommend getting a massage table, because it is hard to do it. Because if you're not on something soft, obviously it's going to be hard for the person. They're going to be uncomfortable. And you got to be able to turn them. You got to be able to get to their feet. I mean, you can do it on a bed, but it is not easy. I've tried it before. It doesn't work well.
So if someone is on a bed, they would still have to have their head down so that the neck and the spine is in full alignment.
Right, and it would be hard because they can't. There's no place for them to breathe. I mean, and you got to have their feet hanging off the end of the bed. and it's really hard. But I mean, you can do it, but it's just a whole lot easier if you have a table.
Have I heard, or did I just make this up, that some people, if they don't have a table, will use like a chair and have someone straddle the chair and kind of hug the chair backwards, and then you have access to their full spine and alignment? Or is that a terrible idea?
Oh no, you could probably do that. I don't know. I have not heard of that.
Okay.
But that you probably could. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess you could.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Lisa as you listened? Yeah, just unmute yourself and go for it. Lynette, I think you were going to, and then Jeannie. Well, Jeannie's muted first. Go for it, Jeannie.
My question is, at the very beginning, when you're trying to get the balance, how can you tell when you've got them, the balance is correct?
If you just feel a peaceful energy and you don't, sometimes I have never really felt a lot of movement or anything going on with anybody much, but sometimes you might feel their heartbeat or just a pulse in their shoulders when you're holding on to their shoulders. And when that kind of all gets in rhythm, you kind of know if everything just feels the same on both sides. If you got something thumping on this side, but it's not on this side, then you know they're not in balance. And I haven't had that too often. So it's hard, it's kind of hard to tell, but you know, you just have to kind of use your judgment and just know that if everything's just calm and quiet and peaceful and you're not feeling a lot of different things going on, then you know you're pretty well in balance.
Lynette, did you have a question? No, you're good. So what about if you're dealing with a child or someone with sensitive skin, and would you dilute like with V6 for every oil that you use if you had to?
Yes, and people, like I had a friend that had sensitive skin, and so rather than using 4 to 6 drops of oil, I would just use a couple of drops. And definitely for children, you want to use less oils and dilute for them as well.
About how many raindrops, we'll come to you, Suzanne, right after this, I just saw your hand. About how many raindrops would a raindrop kit last?
Depending on how much you use, I like to use a lot of oil. So if I use the 6 drops for each of it, I think I've gotten about 5. You can probably get 6 out of it. I've always got to buy an extra bottle of Valor because you use so much Valor that 5 milliliter will not last, because you put 3 drops on each shoulder, then you put 6 drops on each foot, and then you also use it in the Vitaflex, and so you go through a lot of Valor. So, but probably I would say 5 or 6. And then when you're doing the feet Vitaflex, you can use different amounts too, which again, I like it good and oily, so I'll use 3 or 4 drops. And I mean, you can use less oils, but like I want the full impact. So.
Suzanne, go ahead and jump in there.
Lisa, is it important to maintain physical contact with your patient at all times?
Yes, I was going to tell you that, and I didn't tell you that. Good question. Yes, it is. So when I am like putting oils, like if I've got my hand on their back and I'm putting oils on their back, I usually open up my bottles before I start, and I just kind of set the cap on there like that on all of the bottles. And then when I get ready to use it, I just take the cap off, set it upside down, but I try to keep one hand on the person, get my oil, drop it, get it back here, and put the cap, and I just set the cap back on it so that I don't have to take my hand off of the person that I'm giving the raindrop to. And the same thing when I'm down there with their feet, I try to keep one hand on a foot as I grab the oil, and you can kind of set the oil in the middle of the table and just keep the caps all loose, and then when you get done, you can tighten them all back up. But yes, it is very important that you keep contact with the person that you're giving the raindrop to.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions, comments, feedback? Go ahead, Suzanne.
Is there a time frame they should wait before they shower and wash all these oils or whatever's left over?
24 hours. Typically, I tell people, if I think about it, if I remember, I tell them to take a shower before they come to get a raindrop, and then to try to wait 24 hours. You don't have to, but it just gives the oils a chance to work, and they're not washing them off right away or anything. So I always tell them, try to wait 24 hours if you can.
You smell like a real good salad for 24 hours.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's a good smell. I can bask in it.
It really, really is a phenomenal smell. Well, Lisa, you have knocked it out of the park again, just with your understanding of the raindrop and your ability to explain it to us. So thank you. I want one right now. I know I should have been there to let you demo. Yeah, and phenomenal. So thank you for learning all this and dedicating yourself to learn it and internalize it and then be able to teach it. You are truly an expert. And
I'm not an expert, but I do love it.
And that comes across. So thank you for that. And I will be referring to these videos on our YouTube library multiple times over the next little bit. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Okie dokie.